Hey everyone, I'm Gavin Stevens and welcome to Uncolonized Podcast. This week, B Black and I review another Tyler Perry movie. It's the Netflix 2020 feature, A Fall from Grace. Oh, it's a good one. Anyway, we had a good time reviewing it. We do the first part. You get it free here. Second part's on our Patreon at patreon.com/theuncolonized. $5 a month. You get unlimited access to all our episodes, including the second part of this one. This conversation. It's good. It's funny. We have a great time. That's like $1.25 a week. You can afford that. I also want to make another announcement. We are moving to a new podcast network, Chonilla Network. So we're new. It's our first network we're ever on. So we're going to be part of the Chonilla Network in the next couple of weeks. We're just moving over. So we'll see you guys there. You can check out other podcasts similar to ours once we get there. So anyway, you might hear a new intro or whatever, but most things are going to be the same as usual. You get the podcast same place you got the podcast today. Okay, that's a lot. Remember, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. The Uncolonized Podcast. It's all of those. You can find them. We're there. And we're on all major places where you can download where you download podcasts. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all of those. That's all the house cleaning. Let's get to it. Here we go. Tyler Perry's Fall from Grace. Welcome to Uncolonized Podcast. I'm Gavin Stevens. Each week I'm joined by my friend B Black to have a conversation about race, politics, pop culture, all from a Canadian perspective. It's a cathartic, no-holds-barred conversation between two friends. It's like being in the barbershop, but we can't cut hair. So I had you watch Tyler Perry's Netflix movie.
No. I volunteered. Because, I respect the work of the man of God. So I don't bullshit. All right, yes, he did make me watch it. Yes, he did.
Sorry, B. You got me to watch it. How about that? The heathen on the other end of this podcast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it
wasn't that hard. Thanks a lot, bro.
You're welcome. I've been a big fan of Tyler Perry for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, wow. But all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, all the wrong reasons. I hate watch Tyler Perry. Like I love watching Tyler Perry's movies. It's just brilliant.
Hysterical.
But
I get
but
that.
Here's the thing about Tyler Perry. This is my conflict with Tyler Perry because he is a black success story, right? He's made himself into a movie mogul.
Yep.
And he hires a lot of black people. Mm-hmm. And I can't. Like, whatever he makes, and I also believe, like, there's a lot of hate on Tyler Perry. There's, like, a little bit of classism in that, too. But I think whatever he does, whatever he did for his audience, he does it well, right? Like, he does that. Whatever he does for his audience, he does it very well.
Well said. Yeah. Agreed.
That being said, my God, is it shit.
Get that.
My God, is it shit. Like with a capital S.
You're saying all the movies, or are we talking about this one in particular?
Every movie I've watched almost all his movies, and I don't know a good one in the bunch. Like,
bro, wow. Keep going.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'll let you jump in afterward because I know this is, like you said or before we got on the podcast, that this is blasphemous. Like to hate on, yeah, it's blasphemous, and I understand. But I've watched a lot of his movies, and they are all kind of the same. Like, there's a lot of colorism. There's like misogyny like crazy. There's like anti-man. I guess that's a misandry, right? Is that right? Is that the right word? Yeah.
Okay. Anti-man.
He's very anti-black man. And then he uses these heavy things where he's like like the dark-skinned person has a job.
Oh, yeah.
He does a lot of that shit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The moral story of that movie was, lady, get yourself a light-skinned man if you want to have a successful wedding. But, yeah.
A lot of his movies are that. Or you might end up with AIDS, right? Like, you might end up with AIDS. And then he does he does what Marvel movies does for comic book movies, and I was pointing it out to my wife while we were watching it. There's like scenes that don't make sense, but they're like Easter eggs for black people, like church going black people.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see that way. Okay.
Yeah, they're like there's like a scene where they're in church and the bad guy doesn't like church, so it's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, black people that go to church will be like, oh, that person's evil. That's a bad person.
Oh, most definitely.
It's Easter eggs for black people, like how they have Easter eggs in Marvels for nerds, right? Like there's just there's things shout out to black people in there.
Agreed.
Okay, so Fall from Grace is his latest movie. It came out, I should have done research on it, 2019 or 2020?
No, this year, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
So, 2020. He
5.8 out of 10. Fuck you, IMDb. Sorry.
It was straight to Netflix, but like a lot of movies are going straight for Netflix. It's not a knock on Tyler Perry by any means.
Correct.
Martin Scorsese just did a movie, the Irishman that went to Netflix. So anyway, this movie is about Grace, who is a middle-aged black woman who just got out of divorce. She caught her husband cheating, and she's a banker.
Hey, when you're reading this, are you trying to make me laugh while you're doing it?
No, I'm telling you,
because I'm getting the giggles for some reason. And seriously, okay, don't do that. All right,
I'm
it's
sorry.
a man of God. Don't be disrespecting this project. I'm already enough trouble as it is. Oh, sorry. Okay,
I'm not reading. I'm just going. I'm like that. I'm also going off the top of my head about it. So sorry. Okay. If it's making you laugh, this is Tyler Perry purely. This is him.
Sorry. Okay.
So Grace is. I'm glad he put the name of the woman in the title because it makes it easier for me. So Grace is a banker who's doing okay at her job. She doesn't have a man, and her best friend Phylicia Rashad hooks her up with this man. What's his name? Do you have any? I should have.
Fuck, what's that dude's name?
Oh my god! Hang on, I'll look it up.
I saw it last night, guys.
This is bad. Sorry.
We have the fuck boy. Oh, yeah, holy shit! Spoiler alert!
Tyler Perry's Fall from Grace. I'm trying to find it. I can't. Okay, so anyway, you don't really need dark skinned black dude. He's an artist.
Yeah,
and
photographer. You mean?
Yeah, but he meets her at his art gallery, his
Shannon,
exhibit, which was very much like, he's Shannon. An artist. Yeah, his name's Shannon. His name is Shannon, and she sees his artwork. Like he has photos from Ethiopia. And she's like, I can tell that she has a good eye. And he's like, how can you tell that's a she? And she's like, because first her name, and then the way she takes photos. And it's like, it's clear. It's so cliched the way he writes this. It's just like,
another cliche. Yeah,
it's so goddamn cliche. Also, my wife and I, we couldn't get over the way Shannon was holding his glass of champagne. Did you see how he was holding it?
At the bar?
No, at the art gallery. Yeah, he was holding it at the bottom of the stem and drinking from like the bottom.
Oh yeah, pretentious ass motherfucker. Yeah.
It was like an alien. Like he didn't know. He's never held a glass of champagne before. That's nitpicking, but it was like, what the fuck? And his wig was just like, oh my god.
That shit was a wig?
Yeah,
his hairstyle sucks. Yeah, I mean,
you thought he just had bad hair.
I just had bad. I'm like, fuck, these kids are into a weird style these days.
So anyway, they fall in love. They go to a restaurant where the extras steal the scene in this scene. There's an old man in the scene where they're having this conversation, but there's like certain things in it. Like, okay, so they go to this restaurant and they're talking, and there's this old man in the background while they're eating, and they've given him nothing to. I was like, why did they give him a plate of food? He's an extra. He's fake eating food in the background. Then he's looking directly down the barrel of the camera, like just right at us, and he has this look like this has gone on longer than you said it would. He has this look of disdain, like I was supposed to be home an hour ago. Why are we still filming this shit? That's totally has this look.
I called it the 3-year film studies, and I'm doing this shit.
And I'm doing exactly. This is what my life wound up. He's actually trying to act too, but he's not putting food on the fork. He's just like putting it to his mouth, pretending he's eating and pretending he's drinking.
The water in the cup.
And they held the camera on him. I don't know why.
It's you sure? It's not you who's noticed. Like I mean, this is what I think happened, right? You and I have that detector, right? It's like, oh, upset white person in the room, stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's what like that was a distraction from that scene. It's like, yo, why is that white dude angry?
Yeah, why he's so mad? Like,
is he gonna jump in? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he looked like he was. They should just give him a cup of coffee and had him fake talk.
You know what I mean?
Like, why give him food? Why give him shit to do? Like, just give him a cup of coffee, let him sit there by himself with a newspaper, and then he doesn't have to fake anything or like stare at the camera. Just look at your newspaper. Don't look at the camera.
You know what's going on? He's looking at those two like, I remember when that section was a white-only section.
That's
goddamn Obama.
He's just staring, going off about the good old days. Make America great again. I remember when that was a white-only section. Look at me sitting in the colored section now. What has happened to this world?
Losing the country. Losing the fucking country.
That was the direction they gave all the extras. This is post segregation America. So I want you guys to be upset about that you're sitting in the colored seats and black people are sitting. That's your motivation for this scene. So anyway, these two, the main Shannon and Grace start dating and they fall in love. And then Shannon proposes to Tyler Perry does here's my thing, you're a woman of a certain age, right? Or any person of a certain age, wouldn't you have sex with someone before you marry them?
Oh wait, not as a Christian.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm full of shit.
I'm sorry. I'm
trying to take myself seriously. Sorry.
Not as a Christian. I should have known who I was talking to. I had no idea. I didn't know I was talking to the Reverend Billy Graham. I had no idea Joel Osteen was on this.
Bro, quick story. I have to, man. You just brought up. When I was a kid, because I went to Catholic school, right? At Sunday school, they used to scare the shit out of us kids about hell. You know, how hell is bad. And it got to a point that I remember wondering, why would these adults risk having premarital, going to hell and having premarital sex?
Yeah.
I can't wait to be an adult and only have sex when I get married.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Why would they give us a penis?
So my point, yeah, exactly. It's only when you have sex for the first time and oh, now I get it. Okay,
yeah.
I guess they just didn't want to go to hell, Brother Gavin. That's why they didn't have sex before marriage.
That's because they didn't want to go to hell. What a great way to stop people from having sex. It's just the Catholic Church sounds like so much fun. Like Christianity, it just sounds like fun. It sounds like a fun time.
Well, when they're not babysitting your kids, So
wait a second. So when they're not babies, because they're gonna molest them.
Yeah, that's terrible. Sorry. All right.
So you're supposed to not do all this horrible shit. Like when you're so you're not supposed to have sex and all that. So what's heaven like if no one's having sex and no one's doing drugs and no one's doing shit?
Shit, I know, right?
It sucks.
What's that like? With all the goodies. Fuck, I'm trying to quote Biggie here and I'm fucking it up. Say no to drugs, kids. Don't make sense to go there with the goody goods dressed in black. I want black Timbs and black hoodies. Oh, my life. Anyways, yeah. So my point is, according to Biggie Small, heaven must be boring.
Yeah.
Me butchering his rhyme?
It was just like you gave up. You just gave up, and you're like, anyway, my point is, which you heard on many a Biggie album. You get halfway through a song, forget the lyrics, say, fuck it.
You know, I get performance anxiety. I don't know what it is on this microphone.
No, I get it.
And I'm reciting lyrics, all of a sudden, like if we were like outside, I would have recited no problem.
Yeah.
But now that I know that a lot lot of people are listening, some of them are hardcore Biggie fans.
It's too much.
Too much.
I get it. So, okay, sorry.
Kiku, yeah.
No, I wasn't trying to cut you. So they decide to leave, right? They get engaged, and then instantly. She goes to work. He starts showing up at her work.
Bro.
Like he showed up once.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me. And then he takes a photo of her, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And then she gets like the next day she gets called into work, and apparently someone's been stealing money from. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Talking shit about the man of God. That's what's going on, man.
What are you
Next
gonna do?
Get some pestilence going on.
It's pestilence.
Is it pestilence? Am I saying the wrong word?
You know, you're right. It's
locusts and shit. You know what I mean?
So biblical. So anyway, so she gets fired from her job for stealing money. But what kills me is like, okay, so they just let her go? Like she stole. They accused her of stealing like $400,000, just under 400, and they're like, well, you better pack up your shit. I don't know why I'm sneezing. They're like basically like, you better pack up your shit and get out. I'm like, she just stole $400,000. You don't let her go. You call the police.
You're hysterical, yeah.
You don't let someone stealing money from a bank just walk out. Just like, oh, you're gonna have to pay us back $10 every week until you pay it off.
Yo, well, what about that scene? As a black person, you know, she's the only black woman working there.
I know.
And being accused of stealing money.
I know. That's
pain enough right there. I think I was just, you know what I mean?
Except the wigs throw you out of it, right? Like you're just. Like... Oh, I also forgot to set up. I'm setting up. This is later on in the movie. Everything I've said so far is later on in the movie because there's a character. Her lawyer is this young lawyer who's burnt out, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, she's
not making it. She doesn't feel like she's making a difference. It's like I'm just paying the bill with this job.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm like she believes that all of them are you know, liars. Everyone, all the people that are like accused of stuff are liars and cheaters. Sorry.
You okay?
But yeah, I'm okay. I'm just sneezing again. But here's the thing: she never tried a case.
Oh shit! Yeah, she's they call her the plead queen or something like that.
Yeah, but she's never tried a case. This is what I don't understand. How do you be burnt out? If you never tried a case, how is she like? Oh, and earlier on the first scene in the movie, an old lady jumps off the top of a building because of a helicopter.
Oh, at the beginning, yeah.
You gotta help me out on this. So, like, an old lady jumps off a building in the beginning of the movie. Because,
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it freaks out her husband. Her husband comes home. White lady jumps off of the. I don't know. It's important for me to point out it was a white lady.
Well, I mean, you know,
white lady jumps off of the roof of her top. Excuse me, the top. My God,
of her house.
Of her house.
Yeah. Well, not even the roof. Like.
Right. But
just
the point is to commit suicide.
Yeah, she commits suicide.
And the cop trying to talk her out.
Yeah.
Talk out of doing it was the husband of the lawyer
who's burnt out.
Who's burnt out and later defends Grace in court for stealing money from her bank. Right.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm sneezing so much. So she she works for Tyler Perry. She's with what do you call it?
Oh shit.
Law
firm. Yeah.
You know, not the law firm. She's a public defender with Tyler Perry. Yeah.
Okay. Tyler Perry was the boss.
Tyler Perry's the boss.
Yeah.
And she's burnt out, but she's never tried a case.
Exactly. They actually got her on the case because they wanted to wrap this shit up.
Yeah.
Like quick. Yeah.
And her friends mad at her, or one of her friends are mad at her for taking the case because he doesn't like that she took the case.
She doesn't like that it took the case. Right.
Yeah.
So wait, at the beginning of the movie, they established that she's married and her husband cheated on her with some younger woman.
No, that's Grace.
Oh, sorry, Grace. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, okay.
We'll get to Grace in a second. We'll get back to Grace in a second. I just want to clear up the beginning. So I'm at this point in this movie where I'm like, oh, she's burnt out. And I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking Tyler Perry's trying to make a comment on systemic racism in the justice system. So I'm like, well, you know what? He's doing something, but it's kind of heavy-handed. And he's making it more about her personal feelings as opposed to the system being like this, which I'm like, and then my wife's like, you're watching Tyler Perry. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with systemic racism. Not a fucking thing. I gave him so much credit. This is how stupid I am. I gave him so much credit to thinking that he was going to do a commentary on systemic racism. But he was going to do it wasn't going to be a good commentary, but he's still doing commentary. But he wasn't.
Holy shit! You know, I'm laughing because I feel like you're sitting next to me in church, and the preacher's talking about how Jesus fed the masses, and you're thinking, oh shit, it's about to say something deep about black people. Nah, bro.
No, not at all.
Not a chance.
No. So they're trying to give her a plea deal of they're trying to give Grace a plea deal. Her son, this is the type of the clunky writing of Tyler Perry. I'm sorry this review is all over the place, but this is the clunky writing of Tyler Perry. So she goes to visit Grace, then goes back to the office, and then the Grace's last name is Waters or something like that, and then she gets called in. She's like, "Did you get?" And her boss is like, Tyler Perry's like, "Did you get that thing signed? Did you get the plea deal signed?" And she's like, "No, we're working on it." Blah blah. So she sits down again, and then the receptionist comes up to her. She's like, I don't remember the guy's name, but she's like, "Oh, Matthew Waters is here to see you." And she just goes, she's talking to the same woman she talked to.
Oh, right, okay.
She's like, "Oh yeah, I just went to the deal with what's her name, Waters, Grace Waters." And then she goes, "Oh, okay, by the way, Matthew Waters is here." And she's like, she's like, "Who?" I'm like, "You couldn't piece those two together." And it's her son. Yes,
yeah.
But she could.
Who? The audience, man.
Who? Fuck.
The slow audience.
Yeah, it's dumb. So anyway, she goes back. And Grace, which is weird that you had to come and then go back and then go. There's a lot of go to the prison, leave the prison, go back to the prison stuff, which doesn't make sense. So she visits Grace, to find out the story. And this is when she starts telling her story, her side of the story, of why she's accused of killing her husband. She's accused of killing her husband. It's a big story. We hear it in the news, right? So anyway, her and her husband, Shannon, they fall in love. Grace and Shannon fall in love. They get married. Instantly, all that stuff happens where the bank, she finds out they're stealing money from the bank. And then she finds out, then she goes... She's a little suspicious with the bank thing, but really doesn't give a fuck for some reason. She doesn't care that the bank is accusing her of stealing $300,000. She goes into her bank to do something with money, and they're like, "Oh, you're overdrawn, and you owe us money because of the mortgage." And she's like, "What mortgage?" She's like, "Oh, you signed another mortgage."
Yeah.
She's like, "I didn't sign a mortgage." So cut to, she goes home. And she's like, Shannon comes in. He's no. I missed the part when Shannon started turning evil. Right? Did Shannon start turning evil already?
Slow. There's a scene where
they make love.
Oh, she mentions that. Yeah, and that's when I noticed. What's that like? You never realize you wake up one day and this is gonna be the day that changes your life.
Yeah. Okay, I just don't want to miss this beat. So they make love in their malaria net, because I guess that's what Tyler Perry thinks people have sex in, like those those nets, malaria. Those nets that look romantic in shitty movies, like they put a net around the bed. It's a malaria net, so you don't get mosquitoes on you, right? And get malaria.
Oh, okay, like a hammock type shit.
Yeah, no, it's just like a screen that goes around the bed, right?
Oh.
What they were having sex in.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So they have sex in the bed, and then and then she wakes up, and he's gone, and he goes downstairs, and he sees her on the phone, and then he's like really rude to her, like,
bro.
Yeah.
Oh well, okay. I'm actually at the scene right now. I'm just kidding. You say he's first. It starts out all calm, like, "Hey, who are you talking to?" Because he's saying something like, "Don't worry, I'll catch you in the morning."
Yeah,
but it kind of sounds like he's either talking to a kid or the side chick or something like that.
So, it sounds like something,
right? And he says, "Hey, who are you talking to?" And fuck, homeboy, 180 degree goes, "Grace, you know what I don't like?
Yeah,
when people, but he said it in a
he
cold
stood
way.
up.
He stood up, yeah. When people, I forget the word, I'm paraphrasing, but people don't mind their own business.
Yes,
that's when you're like, shit, something's up with this guy.
Yeah, something's up with clearly, like it's a 180.
It's a 180.
So
actually. Anyone who's never seen a Tyler Perry movie is like, shit, something's up with this guy.
And everyone else is like, "Oh, this is good. This is how Tyler Perry movies go."
Exactly.
It's right on course.
So he's the villain, of course.
It's
bad wig guy, yeah, villain.
So the next day, she confronts him, right, with footage. First, she's like, she confronts him, and he's like, I'm working with the Cancer Society. That's who I was talking to, people from the Cancer Society. I was trying to bring him to, and he shows him photos of her, that he took photos in the place where they got engaged, some like fucking butterfly something. And then she's like, well, what about the money that you stole, the second mortgage you took out? And he's like, what are you talking about? And then she shows him footage of him going into the bank. Shit, and I'm like, bro. This is why I said to my wife, I'm like, I realize Tyler Perry writes, he has an ending and then he writes backwards. Right? He's like, how do I get to this ending?
Yeah.
Because like, how could you go into a bank? You're a black man, first of all, in America. You go into a bank and forge a woman's name on some documents that she banks at regularly.
Hey, man, dumb. Oh, no, that I believe in a sense that Tyler Perry really wanted to bring up the fact that this nigga, I'm using the word nigga, is a piece of shit.
Yeah, but you can't forge a mortgage on someone's account. You can't forge their name.
It's kind of like, yo, I don't care if I get caught.
Yeah, but they wouldn't give you the money.
Oh, you're saying okay. From the point of view of the
bank, you can't go into
a Perry movie, man. What the fuck?
I'm not suspending my disbelief on it. Like if you went into the bank for me and signed my name for some money.
Oh, that's not gonna work. Yeah, no,
exactly. And then on top of that, she has footage of him doing it. So the bank gave her the footage.
That's fucked up.
Apparently, I guess it's her bank that she works at. So she has a relationship with the bank where they're like, if like this doesn't make any fucking sense. This is where my mind just can't. Like, so I work at a bank. I work at a bank and I do all my banking at the bank, including my mortgage, which they know I've paid off. This new guy comes in that they've never seen before and forges my name, and they give him a loan, a mortgage, and he takes money out. And then they show me footage of him signing it, and they're not suspicious of that shit?
Oh, shit. Yeah, for real, eh? As opposed to like, you think there'd be two signatures.
Right, and she said, I didn't sign that shit. And they're like, oh, well, this is the guy that signed your name. He didn't sign his name. He forged her name. This is his writing. And then, this is what I understand. She has proof of him doing it based on the bank footage, because the bank gave her the footage, and she doesn't go to the police.
At the time, yeah, I guess she figured that, I'm gonna handle this thing out myself. Oh, here's a sad part though. Okay,
you're skipping over some but go ahead. Yeah,
go ahead. No, here's the sad part, right? And Chappelle touched on that, right? You said she doesn't go to the police. It's common among black women to not call the police on black men, even though they should, because they're worried because they know how police treat, black men, and they're like, okay, it's better for me.
All right, well, tell me that after you owe $700,000.
And I'm not trying to
tell me that after you're being investigated for robbing a bank.
It's kind of like you're beefing with your homeboy, and he kicks your ass. You're not gonna call the cops on him,
dude. I am sorry, but if I don't care how much friends we are, if you forge my names and then stole money from my job, and it's $700,000, if it's you or me, I'm calling the cops on you. I'm not going down.
I guess I'm saying, no, that scene did not surprise me, or I didn't question it. Her trying to say, "Yo, motherfucker, give me my money back."
Okay, well, let's stick with your logic. Let's say you're right that she doesn't want to call the cops on her. Okay, so he's not leaving, and she's just like losing her mind. He's like all talking shit, and he refuses. Like, I can't leave. He's having sex with other women in the house.
Damn,
just like it's just like so obvious. But then he sits down and starts smoking a cigarette. And he starts talking about how it was probably funny. It was just so ridiculous. You're an old lady and nobody wants you. The sad thing is, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then she picks up a baseball bat and knocks the fuck out of him. Like pieces of meat were flying up in the air. Then she drags the body down to the stairs and kicks it down into the basement. It's like just blah, 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 blah. And I mentioned the gruesomeness of all this because later on, I need to explain. I need to understand something else. So she would rather murder a man than go to the police. How much shit does she want to be in before she's like innocent on this shit?
Oh man, okay, I don't believe you. Oh man, you're reminding me of this dude who put me in a situation where I'm defending Kanye. You know what I mean? Even though I hate Kanye, now I feel like defending a Tyler Perry movie.
You can't defend this.
In this case, okay. First of all, I gotta tell you, if you're gonna watch a Tyler Perry movie, it helps if you read the Bible, because the Bible has some shitty storytelling. Like a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah, but
right?
the Bible doesn't have the Bible wasn't making millions of dollars way back when. You know what I mean?
I'm saying Tyler Perry's people are like, fuck, we don't, you know what I mean? Yeah, sure, that was a stretch, but for the point of this story, I'll accept it.
Well, absolutely.
I'll accept that, okay, she ripped him off, and because that scene where he knocks her over the head,
yeah,
I imagine myself being around my relatives. And they'd be like, yeah, bro, fuck that nigga. You know what I mean? Shit like that. Bunch of Christians yelling, fuck that nigga.
I get. But okay,
they built up the fact that he's a piece of shit. That's
keep that in mind then. Keep that in mind. What you just said, keep that in mind. But here's my problem is there's so many leaps of logic.
Oh,
there's just too many leaps of logic. Like maybe you're right. And there's a lot of like I said, Easter eggs in there. Like there's a scene, like I said, where they go to church and he's all tired and yawning and shit during church, which is that's bullshit. But whatever. And then there's there's other little Easter eggs for but then he does stuff where a black woman's taking a shower with her wig on, with her hair in, that doesn't happen. She's not getting that hair wet.
Leaps of logic.
Yeah, but leaps of logic. And that's just that's nitpicky. The bank shit and the murder I do not get. So she murders him. So she's telling the story, but the body's disappeared apparently. So this is the end of the story. She gets mad at the prosecutor. The prosecutor, she's like, "But you don't help nobody. You're known as someone that doesn't help anyone. Fuck you." Or she doesn't say "fuck you." It's a Tyler Perry movie, so she says "Get out of here," and then she leaves. And then they show a scene where she's walking in the field. Excuse me, with her boyfriend. And he's basically like, "You were born to be a lawyer." That's the ongoing.
Yo, man, it's the light skin. You know what I mean? The power of light skin husband.
Yeah, you need and it's weird because he has two costumes in this movie, his or her husband, and mainly he wears a police uniform the whole movie.
Yep.
And he's a horrible police officer. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So it goes from the scene, her in the prison talking to the woman, Grace. And then her walking with her husband, the lawyer walking with her husband. He convinced her to do it, and then right back to her talking to Grace again. It's like bad filmmaking 101. You just repeat the same scene. And then she's like, "I want to take your case," blah, blah, blah. And she's like, "All right, fine. She tells the rest of the story, and then she's like, "Fine, take my case." And then so the whole thing is so would you argue, am I wrong in thinking that the whole purpose of the lawyer is to prove that she's innocent of murder?
Yeah. That part was complicated. Yeah, okay. All right, checkmate, you got me there. Because remember the opening statement?
Yeah.
Remember her opening statement to the for the court?
Yeah, what was it?
All I know is the defender, who's the first guy? Was that the prosecutor? Prosecutor, right? The white guy. Yeah,
the prosecutor.
Holy I thought they were setting us up like A Few Good Men because he had a good opening. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
She's done. This chick goes up, and all I remember ends with, "By the time we see all the evidence, you'll be convinced that we're right and they're wrong." You'll see.
You know what? What you're saying makes more sense than what she said, because she said beyond a reasonable doubt. And beyond a reasonable doubt. And the way she said it was we'll give you doubt you have to have doubt. What is it? Doubt beyond a reasonable doubt. And the way she said it was we'll give you doubt, but not beyond reasonably. It was we'll give you doubt that's reasonable, which is it was a weird way to phrase it. But yes, but what you're right. It's yeah. You're right. The way you said it's way better than the way they wrote it.
But I thought they were going to do A Few Good Men. I got lost. I thought they were going to do a few, in a sense that yes, she killed him, but there was context to it.
Yeah, but see, you got logic. You got logic. So you're right, but they were trying to prove that she would. You're using logic.
Okay.
But she was trying to prove that she didn't murder the man.
Right. Even though she smacked the shit out of him.
But she smacked the shit out of him with a baseball bat. She is a murderer. So, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you write that in your movie?
So, fucking Christians, man. Them Christians, man. He's, and I say fucking Christians, not in a disrespectful way.
No, not disrespectfully.
Just a bit. I mean, but I could...
Okay, so she takes on her case, right? Tyler Perry's mad at her, and he's like, basically, like, if you mess this up, you're fired. Which is like, really, is that what people say? Is that what they?
You'll never work in this city again. Shit,
but it's your job to take on the cases if the people are presumed innocent. If there's other evidence, that's your job. That's what it's supposed to be, right? Like,
Gavin. Okay, there's no funds. All right, fucking Democrat. I mean, the Republicans. Whoever pays for this shit, you know what I mean? They have no funds. They can't afford this. They can't afford that. They're like a lot of work to do. So this one, they wanted it done just like that.
Yeah, but see, then do that movie. To make that's the movie I thought he was going to do when I gave him more benefit of the doubt than he deserved. Like when I gave him more like credit than he deserved, I thought that was the movie he was going to make. But he didn't make that. He made a movie where a man walks into a bank, forges his wife's signature, and the bank's like, "Me no know." Like, it's just like, the fuck is wrong with everybody? And her only recourse is to hit him in the head with the bat.
This is one of those conversations I wish we could have in a live studio audience type of shit.
Yeah, this would be a good con. We should have a Tyler Perry night.
Just to have because I'll stand up for the people who are like, man, you know what? You guys are being hard on the movie. I'll be like, oh, you know what? And I'll switch on you. like Judas. You know what?
It's so quick.
I even know this nigga. I mean, this is Tyler Perry movie and shit like that.
Before the cock crows 3 times. You'll betray me. You'll betray me 3 times. Yes.
Well, it's not. Hey, 26 viewers, opening night. Homeboy knows his audience, man.
Yeah, I get it. He knows his audience, but I'm watching this movie as a movie. Like
almost that.
If a Marvel movie was this bad, look at Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I watched the last Star Wars. Like, this is a horseshit movie. I can watch movies I like, and I watch people reviewing it who are his fans are like, yeah, he's kind of using the same thing over and over again with these movies. I liked his old movies, but it's the same thing. Like there's a Tyler Perry bingo now. That's how cliched he is with his own. He's parodying himself at this point. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, black woman gets AIDS, blah blah. Yeah. Anyway. So
okay.
So let's.
I kept interrupting.
No, it's okay. No, this is perfect. You're doing perfect. This is perfect.
Okay, we're still doing the summary.
Yeah. We're still doing the summary. Because there's more fuckery in this movie.
There's more fuckery
that we haven't got to. Like, there's a moment in this movie that I laughed so hard. There's a reveal in this movie that I was crying, which it was supposed to be like this suspenseful reveal, and I was laughing so hard at this point because he's so dramatic. Anyway. So. They go to so the trial goes and they bring out Phylicia Rashad, which is her best friend, who's like she's like
Claire Huxtable, man.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Here's some more fuckery of logic. So they bring out Claire Huxtable, and she's supposed to be like her best friend, and she's like, they're like, should we bring her out? Should we bring her out? This is the lawyer that's defending Grace, who brings her out as a surprise witness. So they bring out a surprise witness, and they're like, oh, they weren't sure. And then she questions, she's like, oh, she wouldn't hurt a fly. And they keep bringing up this one line, oh, she bakes cookies. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
It's Sunday school teacher.
Yeah, she says she's Sunday school. Great, she's great. Whatever. I get it. That's not even a problem with the movie. That's just like, that makes sense. And then the prosecution's like, okay, so we got phone records. What were you doing on the phone with her at this time during the murder? And Phylicia Rashad's all like flummoxed. She's like, what? I was just talking to see, because she called me, but you were on the line for like this amount of time. And she's and then they're like, and then she answered it basically, because she called me I don't remember how long it was, but she called me. And they're like, okay, so why did you call her when you got to her house? And I'm like, how the fuck did you get Phylicia Rashad's phone records? She wasn't because if Phylicia Rashad, if they had her phone records, that would mean she would be a suspect in the crime.
You're all set. Yeah. Oh man, you're killing me, dude.
How the fuck did they get her phone records? We checked your phone records and blah, and you called, and I'm like, how the fuck did you didn't even know she was gonna she was gonna be a witness in the trial?
Hey, Gavin, when the Lord tests you, right, He'll provide the enemy with everything they need to get that full test.
It's true. You gotta.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can a nigga get a name, man? I'm just saying, right? He was testing her. This movie's all about a test. And that lawyer magically woke up.
Abracadabra.
Everything he needed to prosecute this lady.
The Lord was like right behind her shoulder. The Lord was directing this movie, I'm guessing, and writing.
Oh, bro, he will do that shit just so he can reveal his greatness. Yo, if this shit doesn't work out, I'm going into preaching. This is all you're teaching me right now,
you're convincing me.
B, you need to go into preaching. Okay,
right.
Preaching.
Gospel movie reviews.
This shit is like, oh, wow. Take it easy. Hold on a second. I got limits. This shit is a Sunday school lesson. That's all it is.
Yeah.
About faith, about how bitches ain't shit but hoes and trick. That was deep, eh? I might have lost a few of you in that one.
That was deep.
I think Shannon and you're not done, but Shannon represents the bitch who's being a hoe and a trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he got dealt with.
I like how you switch it up so no one can accuse you of misogyny. I like how you switch that up.
You know what I mean?
You switch that up, man. You know our audience. You're like the Tyler Perry of this podcast. So anyway, they Phylicia Rashad slips up, and then she's like, "Oh, so why would you on the phone?" He's like, and basically because she told me she killed her, and then everyone's like shocked, but it's like yeah, she killed her, and so then she gets charged for murder, and as she's leaving the court, she looks at her son and Phylicia Rashad comforting her son. And she's wearing Shannon's necklace.
Bro.
Like you do. Yep. Like you do. Oh, but okay, sorry, I missed the scene before because there's more fuckery. Like sometimes some movies you can just jump over stuff, but Tyler Perry, you gotta. So they court is adjourned. Everyone rests, like all of the prosecution, the defense rests, and then our lawyer brat is all upset again. Boo-hoo, poor me. I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. You can't do this.
Okay, keep going.
Because they're eating dinner. This is an actual scene. She's like, oh, and her husband's like, oh, you're not eating the dinner I made for you? It's delicious. She's like, what are you, my father?
Bro, yeah.
And she gets up, and then he's like, I'm sorry. I'm just so kind of upset about being a bad lawyer. It's like a woman's on death row, and you're like,
shit's a lot of work.
Yeah, I had no idea it'd be so much work. It's literally, that's what she literally says. I didn't know this would be so much work. And I'm like, why would you get why is someone who's never tried a case trying a fucking murder trial? She's never tried a case, and she's in the murder trial.
Remember Blair Underwood?
Yeah.
Back in you have to go in the file bag for that one, right? What was that court show he was in?
Yeah,
L.A.
The Heat of the Night.
Heat of the Night? No, the court one. That was Heat of the Night.
Oh, L.A. Law? No.
L.A. Law, yeah, man.
Yeah, but
her mom used to watch L.A. Law. I was gonna say she watched L.A. Law, but that was a very long time ago.
Yeah,
her mom used to watch L.A. Law, and then it passed it on to her, and then she decided to be a lawyer. I mean, and then now she realized, damn, this shit's a lot of work.
She didn't know it was going to be so hard. It's like, where's the commercials? Why isn't there any commercials in this?
It's just supposed to be like a half hour.
It's supposed to be a half hour. The problems are solved on LA Law in 44 minutes. At this point in the case, we should be, having a beer at the bar.
Hey, you know what I just realized?
What?
Blair Underwood is dark-skinned. Therefore, it's his fault why she lost the case.
Pretty much. If your theory is correct that she watches LA Law.
Oh man, whose side are you on, bro?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. If my theory's correct,
she's very young for LA Law.
Details. Right,
Details. You're Tyler Perry of piecing this shit together. Don't.
Lazy
if
writing.
I get murdered,
yes, yeah.
if I get murdered, just let someone else solve the crime. I do not want you hoping God plants the evidence in people's hands. So
he's testing my face.
So the boyfriend's like, you can't give up. You give up too much. So then the next day they go into court, and she's like, okay, well, we're gonna sentence. And while they're sentencing, or while they're like deciding the sentence, she's like, Your Honor, I like to submit some more evidence. Or what did she say?
That was an ugly scene. She wanted Phylicia Rashad character to come back to the stand.
I want Phylicia Rashad come back to the stand
after the closing argument. And
they're like, no, you can't do that. She's like, and she says it again, and she says it again. No, okay, before that, sorry, I'm sorry about this, people. I know this is all jumpy, but there's stuff that I keep missing. Like before they come back the next day, before her husband talks her back into it, Tyler Perry sits down and like berates her in front of you're a piece of shit and I hate you, and he says to her, "You millennials, this is how." I'm like, millennials.
Oh, I hated that part. Yeah, man.
Millennials. What are you talking about? He's like, you mean a lot of millennials are trying murder cases?
What the fuck?
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You're so entitled.
You millennials don't try. I'm like, aren't you the one that wanted her just to get a plead? To plead?
There we go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Aren't you the one that gave her the job because she doesn't try?
Uh-huh.
She's like keeps interrupting the court. The judge is like pulls her aside, basically pulls her to his desk, and he's like, this is how it works. The fucking court is done. We already rest. You can't add more. You can't bring a witness back. No, but I have to. And then she gets charged for contempt of court, and she's in jail. And Tyler Perry comes by and again, berates her. Like, you're a piece of shit. You piece of shit.
You ain't gonna make it, right?
Yeah, you ain't shit.
And you're black. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So at this time, because the Grace is piecing shit together, it's like now the movie's turn into what's that? What's Usual Suspect? She's like, ooh, yeah. She starts tracing back to all the things like when Phylicia Rashad apparently walked past the Shannon, they touched hands. Ooh,
yeah.
Here's my favorite though. My favorite, when they were having sex. After they had sex, Shannon was taking photos of her, right?
Yeah.
Turns out she had her banking information open on the table on her laptop, which, most people have sex with their banking information.
You know what I mean? Actually, that shit logs you out, but that's another story. Yeah.
They had sex with her banking information open on the nightstand, and he was taking photos and got all the information. It's like, hang on, before you go down on me, let me just log into my account. Just want to check how much. It makes me horny to see how much money I have in my account. So,
bro, I mean, you know what I mean? Good dick will do that to a woman. It'll make her forget that she logged in to her account to check her balances
and left it open, and then took
make
photos.
Her forget.
Hey, man, I'll give you that one.
Good dick will do that. You know what I mean? So I hear. I mean, yeah, plenty of experience with that shit. Plenty.
So then her husband picks up the lawyer. Husband picks up the lawyer, and she's driving her home, and she's like, "I'm gonna go check on Phylicia Rashad for some reason. I don't know. I want to ask her some questions." And all of a sudden, she runs into Cicely Tyson, right? And Cicely Tyson.
Okay, I was worried we were gonna talk about this movie without mentioning her.
Oh yeah, she was in it earlier. She's like wandering around in the background of Phylicia Rashad's house. So she runs up with her. She looks lost. She's a crazy old lady because you know how Tyler Perry likes to write women: desperate, crazy, and stupid. That's how he writes them. I'm sorry. That's how he writes these like desperate, like helpless, crazy, making dumb decisions. Yeah.
Before you called me to record, I was watching this 1 minute clip about Tyler Perry talking about the movie, and he talks about how he loves to write for women, and I'm like, oh wow.
That doesn't come through in the writing though, Tyler.
I will be surprised.
That does not come through on the writing.
Gavin brings this shit up.
It doesn't. He's like you got Cicely Tyson looking crazy as shit, right? You couldn't.
Oh my god, yes he does.
All black women are crazy, or they're like fucking, or they're helpless, or Anyway, and if they have any ambition in the world, they're pieces of shit for it, right? Right. So she goes back into her house. She's like trying to help out Cicely Tyson, and then Phylicia Rashad shows up. and hits her in the head with. No, does she hit? No, she doesn't hit her in the head with the frying pan. But she hears noises in the basement, right? Am I right? Yeah. She goes downstairs, and it's like now it turns into a weird fucking the camera looks weird and everything. Like it looks cheap as shit. Not that it didn't. And then he goes down. She goes downstairs and she goes into this room and she sees she sees a whole bunch of old ladies chained on the ground.
Bro, that was like some fucked up Auschwitz going on there.
I was laughing so hard.
Oh, you're going to hell. Oh, my God. No, you did.
Well, because it's so Tyler Perry. It's like, that's how he started the movie. He's like, I want to write a movie about where I see old ladies chained up in a basement.
Oh.
That's because that's where I'm like, oh, that's how he got the inspiration. That's what he wanted to write about. That's what he wanted to write about. And then Shannon shows up all of a sudden. Okay, remember early in the movie when Shannon, meat flew out of his fucking head? Like, she hit him with a bat, 6 or 7 times. Meat flew out of his head. Blood was all over. He was a mess. He had, his head was caved in, and he was thrown down the stairs. He got 2 black eyes and a bandage around his head.
Yeah. Still kicking. Yeah.
And he picks her up and chains her up. So anyway, her husband, the amazing cop that he is, he's here, and here's a wonderful scene for Tyler Perry to play. A black man is being arrested. Interesting. And he's arresting a black man. Then he gets an APB on his he puts him in handcuffs, leans him up against the car. Then he goes checks his car and is like, oh, we were looking for Phylicia Rashad's character. There's an APB out for some reason. There's an APB out. So he gets in he gets in the car and he drives away, leaving the guy to stand up and go walk away.
Get it? Yeah, Shout out to that guy who takes credit. I can't see it, but his credit is being a black dude getting arrested in a Tyler Perry movie.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't get arrested.
Gets let go.
He just he just walks away because he's like my wife, and he drives off. And so then he shows up at Phylicia Rashad's house. And he goes, "Where's my wife? Where's my wife?" She's like, "I don't even know what you're talking about. She's not here." Then he hears her. He calls her phone, and then hears the phone, which I thought was the smartest thing in the movie. When she called the phone and the phone went out, I'm like, "That's smart. That's good writing. I like that." So then he kicks the door in, and then he's like, "Where's my wife? Where's my wife?" And he's like struggling with Phylicia Rashad, or the extra or the stunt double that is her. And, it's a weird fight, and then he turns around. I'm like, pull your gun, and he wouldn't pull a gun. And then he hits her. She hits him in the head with a frying pan. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then finally, handcuffs her, and then leaves her to lean over the table.
Yeah,
he's like, "Stay here."
Yeah. Exactly like the guy. Yeah, holy shit. I was just some kind of parallel that I should know about.
Exactly as the other guy that he left. This is the worst cop on the planet.
Real quick, you know what they credit the guy as in IMDb?
What?
They call him the thug. Just thug.
That's beautiful. Good for you, Tyler.
Asshole. You know what I mean?
Good for you, Tyler.
So, laying over the table.
He leaves Phylicia Rashad laying over the table like a thug. And then, like the other thug. Then he goes down and he has a fight with Shannon. And then what's her name shoots Shannon. And then all is right with the world. The old ladies are free.
Oh, the old ladies are free.
Grace gets out of prison now because I guess she didn't commit the murder because he's not dead. But whatever. And then we find out in a surprise twist, Phylicia Rashad's out there getting more old ladies.
Scamming old folks for their Social Security checks.
Yeah, there's some stuff I miss in this that it's just like it's so dense with stupidity.
Hey, let me ask you something.
Yeah,
would it have made it better for you or worse if Phylicia Rashad, what? Rashad. Claire Huxtable and Shannon would have killed the cop, and and it ends with them just being doing it again, looking for other old people to scam.
And then Medea shows up,
pops a cap and all of them.
Dude, the major plot points in this movie just fucked me up. Like the fact that he was still alive was like, why would he still be alive
after that? Well, in theory. Wait, who showed up first? when after she knocks the dude, Grace's character, knocks his head, with a bat or whatever it was. She drives away, calls I'm gonna get her name, Claire Huxtable, and says, "Hey, I killed that dude. He's in my basement." And then Claire says, "Don't worry, I'm gonna handle this shit for you."
And Claire tells the lawyer woman that Grace's son came and picked up the body. No, didn't pick up the body. She said she just saw when she pulled up.
Yeah,
she saw Grace's son leaving.
Oh, okay, yeah, leaving the impression that he might have taken the body or something.
You see why it's so like confusing? We miss details and things. It's not a smooth story, right? Like, why would you add the son leaving when you're not like? Then okay, if you're gonna add if Phylicia Rashad's making a story about the son, like trying to play it like the son was the real, hid the body, then wouldn't there be a part of the story where the son's being accused of murder? Like, wouldn't that be part like?
Oh shit! He was never questioned. Eh?
He didn't say shit in the whole movie.
Holy shit! Except for, hey, she didn't do it. She's a good woman.
She didn't do it. She made cookies. She made cookies. She didn't do it. This is the problem with the story. It's like it's so convoluted, but so shitty. Like Shannon's wig. First of all, I couldn't get past that goddamn. Like it was so fake.
I did not like that dude, man, from the beginning.
Well, you're not supposed to, right? Like
you're not supposed to. Yeah, he was giving. But even from the beginning, when he knew everything about Africa. And his wig, his hair, I didn't like it.
His hair was terrible. The wigs were terrible.
Fucked up high top, whatever that was.
Well, which is weird because Tyler Perry fired all his writers from his sitcom. You think he could afford wigs?
Do you know what I mean?
You're not paying writers. You write it all yourself. The movie was just so convoluted. Like it was kind of like the review was I felt during this review, I felt like, oh man, I forgot this. Usually our reviews are a little bit smoother than this. And this is like, it's such a convoluted, like just a maze of a goddamn movie that doesn't make sense.
So the story is bitter black old lady meets. So am I bitter? I mean, like, who's giving up on love?
Yeah, she's giving up on love. She's giving up on everything, right? Like she's still like thinking about her ex-husband who's like, again, sleeping with her secretary. That's a quote.
Secretary, yeah.
He slept with her secretary. That's like a quote. Ugh.
So no, but meets younger guy. Yeah. Younger guy turns out to be a scam artist with her best friend. Yeah. And the lawyer,
no, scam artist with her mom.
The lawyer.
Shannon was the son of Phylicia Rashad. That's what we find out. Shannon's the son of Phylicia Rashad.
Oh shit, he was.
Yeah, he was. See, the details are so confusing. There's too much shit in this.
How did they become friends in the first place?
Who?
Grace and
she set him up. Remember, she was like, I have an artist friend you should meet. And then she went to the gallery thing, and then he was like, oh, no, I forget how they met. But she's like, you better go. And then, they met at the gallery. And they met at the gallery, and then they
met at the gallery.
Yeah.
But how did...
No, Phylicia Rashad knew him. And invited her to the gallery. You got to get out and meet people. And she's like, I can't make it. And then she went to the gallery. Grace went to the gallery. Met him there. And then he sent her a photo, one of the painting of the photos that she was looking at. And then
I'm asking.
And then
how did
Phylicia Rashad was like, you need to go out with him.
Yeah. Okay. No. Even back up to there. How did Grace and Huxtable become good friends? Phylicia Rashad.
They've been friends for years, apparently.
Okay. Yeah. Now this is where I'll agree with you on the logic and stuff like that. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Been friends for a year and you didn't know your friend was a scam artist?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless she was a parasite and she was just waiting to.
You didn't know she had old ladies in her basement.
That's kind of a detail you would know. Exactly.
You never went over for like tea or something and was like, "Is that Cicely Tyson over?" No, that's a hat rack. You didn't see Cicely Tyson wandering around because Cicely Tyson's wandering around the house apparently all the time. Also the old lady in the beginning of the movie that we saw jump off the building, she was the real photographer. Her name was Shannon.
Oh.
and he stole her identity.
All right.
See?
Yeah, because at the beginning she says, I have nothing. Yeah, that was kind of.
But why did he have to add all this shit in it?
Which part?
Like that. Why couldn't he just why did you need to add that? Oh, he stole the Shannon identity. Like, why add that if you're not going to do it properly? Like,
he's a piece of shit, man. That's what pieces of shit do. They steal everything.
But we knew he was a piece of shit. Like, we knew he was a piece. Like, I think Tyler Perry would be better off if he streamlined his movies down, took out a lot of shit, and just deal with the badness of what you got. Instead of adding a whole bunch of you don't need so many surprises. You don't need so much shit. Just keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. You hear that, Tyler? There's a proportion of black folks you are not reaching with your movies.
He said a couple of months ago he did this thing on Twitter where he was saying that he writes all his own movies. You didn't see that where he filmed his desk and he has 6 or 7 scripts. He's like, I wrote all the scripts for my sitcoms this year. I have no writer's room. I do it all myself. And everyone's dragging him. Everybody. It was yeah, it shows, dude.
Yeah, it shows.
Everybody dragged him. Black Twitter dragged the fuck out of him. It was just yeah.
Damn.
It
One
shows.
Man show. It's shit oh, man.
And you know why he has no writer's room, right? I told you off air, but basically the writers that
pretending like I didn't know. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So God will give you the answer. So his writers wanted to join the union. He's a non-union. He has his own studio. You remember Tyler Perry has a giant movie studio, huge movie. He's a billionaire. He's got money. He's he's an industry. Tyler Perry is an industry.
Yep. Yeah.
And
it's not a business.
Yeah, right. And so he had writers for his sitcom. He has 3 or 4 sitcoms on the air, maybe more.
Oh,
and he had writers for them, and they were writing for the whole time. And then finally, they were like, "Hey, we want to be part of the union." They're union writers, but they were writing outside of the union. They went to their union rep, talked to them, and they were trying to get the union into Tyler Perry's, the writers union, so they can get benefits. They can get pensions, so they can. And they were being underpaid on this.
Oh, wow.
So Tyler was like, fuck them, and he fired all of them.
Oh, wow.
But Tyler says that he was the way his story, Tyler's version is that basically what happened was he found that they would write something, he didn't like it, he'd send it back, they'd rewrite it, he'd send it back, he didn't like it, they'd have to rewrite it, and then finally he would just write anyway, so he decided to cut out the middleman and just write it himself. This is the problem. Is okay, so yes, he's all for black performers and shit like that, but what is it? You got Cicely Tyson. I guess they're working, but it's you're working in shit. You're not paying people the money that they deserve because you're non-union. It's just that's how he gets his shit on the air, because he probably undercuts. You were telling me he has more viewers with his on Fall from Grace than
the Irishman. That caught me off guard. And he knows his audience.
I believe it, and I believe he probably brought people to Netflix because of it. But I'm sure he got paid way less than the Irishman, than Martin Scorsese.
Almost, yeah, and which is why he had to fire those writers. Right, man.
Yeah, but he apparently his Lionsgate deal was bad. It was bad. He was making all these movies, but the deal was bad. I'm not saying he's a bad businessman. What I'm saying is he knows how to price his shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he knows how to price his shit for his audience, and he knows how to write for his audience.
Yep, very much so. By the way, his net worth is $600 million.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
How do you feel about Tyler Perry? How do you feel about Tyler Perry's place? What's it like in Black Canada? I couldn't tell you. How does Black Canada look at?
Tyler Perry?
Yeah, I think
the part of Black Canada that goes to church, they're very likely. I could show this movie to my parents. Well,
and they would love
the French version. They would get it. You know what I mean? Simple storytelling. Fuck the details. Oh, okay. This lady's faith is getting tested by the Lord. And Tyler Perry plays God in these movies.
Yes,
in a way.
you actually, during the review, you were I was laughing and everything, and I was also like, come on, dude. But you also gave me another perspective to look at it. Oh, for someone that's like, it's almost like you said, like the Bible. It's like parables. It's like you're not supposed to take all this. The details aren't supposed to be. It's just they're looking to reinforce an idea.
Right, exactly. Don't give up. And if you do fall in love, keep your eyes open because niggas ain't shit. Yeah, something like that. Whatever. Yeah. Don't give up and especially don't give up on love.
Yeah, and God's always there and have faith and you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't trust the cops and
all that shit. Hey, were you surprised by the role by Phylicia? I have a theory about it. That's why I'm asking.
Phylicia Rashad?
Phylicia Rashad. I don't know why I'm keep fucking up her name, but I'm not making any apologies. Phylicia Rashad.
No, tell me your theory.
Why she played a villain? You weren't surprised?
No, I just figured like, oh well, you know, maybe she's getting. I mean, like this is the way I looked at it. I'm like, oh, older black women are acting and working, and they're being focused on film, and so that was the positive aspect of it for me. But then, and I'm like, even and to your point with Phylicia Rashad, I was like, oh, she's playing out of type, right? Like the last time I saw her, she was in Creed 2. And she was playing a mother, and this one she's playing an evil person. I was like, okay, cool.
Evil person, yeah. And it surprises you too, right?
Yeah.
So my theory is, okay, not valid. I'm no expert, but whatever. Fuck it. This is Uncolonized Podcast, and I'm gonna talk my shit.
Hey everyone, that's part 1 of the podcast. You can listen to part 2 at patreon.com/the uncolonized, $5 a month. That's $1.25 a week. I keep pushing that, but it is cheap. Yes, so go there and listen to the second part of this podcast as well as other podcasts. You get 8 podcasts a month, 8 episodes a month for $5. Anyway, thank you very much. Enjoy. Have a good one.